Shalom, this is Shira Sherbo coming to you from Sfat, Israel, and welcome to Torah for the Nations. This week we're in our sixth Torah portion called Toldot, which means generations. So we've been talking about Abraham and Sarah, and now we're to the part where they had their son Isaac, and he's married to Rebecca. And I'm standing in front of the yeshiva of Shem and Ever, and this is considered the place where Rebecca, when she was pregnant, and she was having a very hard pregnancy, she came to inquire at this yeshiva, at this study hall of Shem and Ever. You remember Shem was one of the sons of Noah, and after the flood, he opened a study hall and he taught the 7 universal laws, the 7 Noahide laws. So when Rebecca, Isaac's wife, was pregnant, she was having a very a battle going on in her womb, she came to inquire of Shem of what was going on. And she found out at that time that she was pregnant for twins and that the younger would serve the older. So now we fast forward to when the twins are grown and we find out that they're very, very different people. And I want to talk about the one scene where Jacob disguises himself as his hairy twin brother Esau. And he goes in to Isaac to receive the blessing. And Isaac is expecting Esau. But when, as soon as Jacob goes to speak, Isaac says, well, that's strange. I'm expecting, Esau. He says, that's the voice of Jacob. So I want to talk about the voice of Jacob, because Esau and Jacob, they had the same voice. They were twins. But Jacob was a more softer, gentler person. He had a different tone of voice than Esau. He had a different manner of speaking. He used different words when he spoke. He had kindness on his tongue. Esau, on the other hand, was more crude, more abrasive. And so as soon as Jacob opened his mouth, Isaac was confused, because he's like, that doesn't sound like Esau. So, we say that every Torah portion, there's just this timeless wisdom. What is the practical application for us today? And I want to talk about the voice of Jacob. So there's the little child that's ball goes in the street and doesn't look both ways. It goes running after the ball, and he hears his parents screaming, "Don't ever, 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 ever chase your ball without looking both ways. What's wrong with you? You could be killed." And they just hear their parent just going ballistic and freaking out. And the child starts to cry. And actually, that's the best sound in the world. The fact that the child isn't used to this voice is the best thing ever. Because the tragedy would be if the child is always getting yelled at, and the parents always use that tone of voice with him every time he spills his juice or loses something or forgets something. If he's always getting yelled at, then he doesn't even react. But the child that's used to the parent talking with a certain tone, talking in a kind way, using certain words, certain mannerisms, when their parent explodes like this, it freaks them out and they say, something must really be wrong. This is not the norm. This is not how I'm usually spoken to. And so it causes them to cry. And that's a beautiful thing. So I want to talk about the voice of Jacob, because it takes a lot of effort to create this kind of home where we have the voice of Jacob, where we watch our words, where our words come out with kindness, and when we react to something that doesn't go our way, what words do we choose? What tone of voice do we use when we're upset? So we want to create the kind of atmosphere for our kids that when they hear us going ballistic, yelling, coming unglued, that they're actually shocked that this is not the norm for them, that this is like, that's not how you usually sound, that's not who you are. So that's the takeaway that I wanted to talk about this week. The voice of Jacob, how it was a giveaway for Isaac. He knew that doesn't sound like Esau usually sounds. He's not saying the kind of words that Esau says. He's not, this tone is different. the manner of speaking is different. You know, and so let's go throughout this week or throughout our life just really trying to cultivate the voice of Jacob in our home. All right. Shabbat Shalom. We'll see you next time. Bye from Sfat.